Hey everybody, Pinstripe here. What is going on? Welcome to a Q&A video. This is long overdue because, well, Christmas kind of got in the way and you guys submitted these questions about a month ago and I've finally gotten around to sitting down and answering them. So we're going to start with question number 1 from Alexis, who asks, is there any way to do a mod that can change the weapons that are available to every category of pig in solo games? So I guess he means in single player. And also, is there a way to do a mod to promote Ace and Legends in solo play as well? If we can change their weapons, it should be a good thing to be able to have Aces and Legends in solo gameplay. In relation to the Legends and Aces, you aren't actually able to promote either of them because those two classes are kind of locked off, I suppose. You can only access them through Cheat Engine. If you want to play as Aces or Legends, then check out the tutorial in the description. And of course, you can also find Aces in the Pinstripe mod, version 1.0. But Legends can only be played on the final mission. If you try and play as a Legend on any other mission in single player, the game will crash. So like I said, in the tutorial below, you can tinker around and understand Cheat Engine, get to grips with that, and then you can use the Aces and Legends. It's a tricky one. It is a bit annoying because it would be nice to promote from a hero to an Ace and then an Ace to a Legend, but the game just doesn't allow it without the use of Cheat Engine. In terms of doing a mod with changing weapons, there is some stuff going on behind the scenes in relation to that at the moment, but I can't give anything away because, like I said, it's still being worked on, but stay tuned on that one. Adrian asks if I know or can guess when Hogs of War Reheated will be out, and if I will be expanding the YouTube channel to other games, or do I want to stick with Hogs of War. In terms of Reheated, I mean, I don't know, like off the top of my head, but if I were to take a guess, I'd say it would probably be another 2 years of development, if I'm being honest, because there is a lot to get through, especially if they want to, you know, port to other platforms. If you want to put it onto PC, there's just so many avenues to go down when it comes to porting, and not to mention all the other like community requests for, you know, the customization to be added, for it to be, you know, modder friendly, that kind of thing. There is a lot to take into consideration, and I honestly don't think that we're going to have it in the next year. We will have news this year, but yeah, I'm thinking like maybe the next 2.5 years, maybe 3 at a push, honestly, if they, you know, expand on it, like I said, and go to other platforms. We will see. In terms of the YouTube channel and other games, when it comes to this channel, like this is the main channel for Hogs, so I'm going to stick to Hogs of War on this channel, and I might branch out to other things if they relate to Hogs of War on this channel, but probably not. I do have a second channel, which you'll find in the channels tab on this channel. How many times can you say channel? I know. But yeah, there is a second channel. Over there I post TF2 stuff, Super Mega Baseball, Spider-Man PS1, Heroes of the Pacific, basically all the other games that I enjoy playing that aren't Hogs of War. And Worms is over there as well. There is some multiplayer games, just random stuff basically that I post there. I haven't posted there in quite a while now, actually. Let's have a look, shall we? It's been 3 months since the last video on the second channel, so yeah, you can check me out over there, but like I said, production is pretty slow on the second channel at the moment. Make It Burn asks, will there be a German version of Hogs of War Reheated, and where can I get information about it? At the moment, the Reheated team don't have any kind of social media that you can follow. There isn't a Kickstarter, there isn't a Twitter. Everything is all sort of under wraps at the moment. You can come join the Hogs of War Discord. That's the main place where you can ask questions to the devs themselves and find out things that you want to know, because they are active in there. We have, you know, a separate text channel for Reheated specifically, so any new members that come in, you can ask questions, you can get to grips with, you know, what's going on, and when there is news, it will be posted there as well. It won't just be sent to me and then, you know, I'll make a video. The community is informed on there too. In terms of there being a German version, I imagine that there will be localization versions. I hope there will be as well. That will of course require taking the original voice lines from the German version, the Russian version, the French version, and you know, starting production on those as well. So that in itself again is another task that they'll have to do, but I imagine that yes, there will be a German version of Hogs of War Reheated. Axby94 asks, I always wondered, what do you do for a living? I work for Sega and I am a QA tester, so I basically play games for a living. I think I mentioned this before on a stream once, but Yeah, my primary role at the moment is a QA tester, and then on the side I'm also a 3D animator and a voice actor. The animation stuff, I went to uni, I got a degree, that's, what I want to do in life, but the QA stuff has kind of taken over because, well, who doesn't want to play games all the time and earn a living from that? That's pretty cool. And of course, a YouTuber as well. Michael Cole asks, can you do a mod, all enemies are pyrotechnics, add 8 enemies, but to help you have 8 heroes, play as Tommy Trotter's hard mode? Is that a question or a demand? I'm not entirely sure. Just don't hold me to ransom on that one. Sisak24 asks, is it possible to play Pinstripe's mod on PS2? I believe you can on a PS2 emulator, but I'm not entirely sure in regards to the actual proper PS2, because I remember the PS1 trick. If you had a mod, like if you burned a mod to a standard blank disc, and then you did the whole swap out the original for that modded disc at a certain point during the loading period on the PlayStation 1, then you could then actually play your mods on a PS1. But yeah, I'm not sure in regards to an actual physical PS2. Herbdub wants to know, when the editor allows you to make a map, what kind of mission would you make and how difficult would it be? I already have about 10 or so custom missions written up in a document on my PC. I haven't actually concepted out how they would look just yet, but I know the overall objective in those missions and the types of enemies that you'll be facing, all that sort of stuff. In regards to difficulty, I'm always keeping in mind the balance between new players and old veterans / current players who are, well adapted to how the game works, how the power system works, the general strats of the single player campaign, all that sort of stuff, but also, wanting things to be a step up from the original. So, I want new players to go ahead, play the original, get to grips with everything, and then something like Pinstripe's mod is a step up from that they can then move on to, that is a bit more challenging, that is different, and the same for existing veteran players. I want it to be challenging for them, especially with hard mode. I'm always thinking about the balances between normal and hard mode, and if I change one thing in normal mode, how does that then affect hard mode, and is it balanced enough, and all that sort of stuff. And many will say that Pinstripe's mod is too hard, it's too easy. I got kind of a mixture of reviews from people in the community, which was kind of interesting to see. But again, I guess I can't balance everything for everyone. Everyone will have different opinions. But yeah, it's always something I'm keeping in mind. Source of Being asks, what is your earliest memory of Hogs of War? This is one I definitely know I have mentioned on stream before. But my earliest memory of Hogs is my dad playing the game for the first time and just completely sucking at it. Like, I remember him trying to shoot a bazooka and just missing every single shot and generally getting annoyed at the game. And I don't think he played it for very long, and it wasn't long before he either turned off the PS1 or switched games. So Dad, if you're watching, you suck at Hogs of War, but it's okay, because if you hadn't bought it, I would never have played this game. So I think I owe everything to my dad in regards to this game. Impastus Caster, the legend himself, asked 3 different questions. The first one, do you have another favourite game you really play or played a lot besides Hogs of War and TF2? And that would probably be a strange mix between Heroes of the Pacific, which is a World War II planes dogfighting game, which I love very much, and ISS Pro Evolution 2, which is a football game. So a strange mix there. But to give you a gist of my other games that I play, recently I've been playing a lot of Hearts of Iron 4. I also play Doom Eternal, the Assassin's Creed series, but only really up until 3, because that's kind of when Assassin's Creed ends for me. I did play Unity as well, but that was kind of shit, let's be honest. The Half-Life series, GTA 4 and 5, Rocket League, Worms WMD, Super Mega Baseball, Ace Combat as well, Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2007, that's a good game, the F1 series, and of course I did also play Tribes Ascend back in the day. His second question, why did you start being a YouTuber? And that relates to the TF2 community more than anything else. With Team Fortress 2, myself and a bunch of other YouTubers jumped on the TF2 YouTuber bandwagon, where, we all wanted to become a TF2 YouTuber and make our primary source of videos about Team Fortress 2. But for me, it became very difficult to make anything that felt original, because everything had been covered in that game already. There were already YouTubers that had done it 1,000 times before, and nothing really felt new. And it was, fun for a while to jump into TF2 and play it, you know, multiplayer with your friends, but that can only last so long. And for me, it was great because, you know, I could use Source Filmmaker and I could make, you know, cool thumbnails. That's what I enjoyed, but the game became stale for me in terms of content, and Hogs of War was a side gig alongside TF2. No one really cared about it then. There were, you know, I'd get maybe an average of about 400 views for a TF2 video and about 50 for a Hogs of War video. And eventually, you know, I swapped teams and here we are. You know, Hogs of War has always been there. It is my favorite game of all time above TF2 because I've just played Hogs of War for longer. I know more about it, and there is just an everlasting stream of content for it at the moment on this platform in relation to how many videos I can make, what I can make them about, and for them to actually feel original. And that's the thing, you guys can as well. There's been a lot of people recently asking about, oh, you know, should I start a YouTube channel? Should I talk about Hogs of War stuff? Yes. Get your opinions out there. You know, the more people we can get making content and you know, just get other personalities out there in relation to Hogs of War, the more we can build this community. You know, that's my stance on it. And its final question, what is your favorite band and or song? I think in terms of songs that's a bit difficult, so I'll just say a couple of bands I really like. ELO, also known as Electric Light Orchestra, Gorillaz, Depeche Mode, Van Seer, Wang Chung, Rammstein, Pinback, Self, Owl City, old school rappers like Tupac, Biggie, Corrupt, Eazy-E, Snoop, all those dudes. Yeah, I like to think I have a rather diverse taste in music. Kolanov asks, do you play worms, do you eat pork, and if you could add a cheat into Hogs of War, what would it do? I do play worms. I have played worms even. I used to play worms 3D and worms 4 Mayhem, but nowadays I primarily stick to worms WMD. I do eat pork, and if I could add a cheat into Hogs of War, it would probably be something that would mess up the physics, like low gravity, that kind of thing, because anything to do with how the pigs interact, like the actual pig models interact with the level, and you know, for random things to happen, like the pigs, you know, they still make me laugh. Like if they fall from a high place and they land, or you know, if they just interact with each other in a certain way, it is still really funny to me. Gaston asks, are you comfortable with your actual content in your videos, and are you thinking of expanding your content to more games? I mean, I've kind of already answered the second question in relation to the second channel and the stuff you can find over there. In relation to if I'm comfortable, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the Hogs of War content and the topics that I'm choosing to make into videos. You know, that there's still so much to this game that I haven't covered. Like, I've barely scratched the surface in terms of the basic things, weapons, you know, how does physics work, what do tanks do, you know, just loads of stuff that I still haven't really spoke about in detail, that I can go into in detail, that I will, but there's just a lot to cover up until that point. And finally, we have a whole bunch of questions from Pascal. They ask, do you think that the following will be possible in future in Hogs of War? Number 1, playing on the single player maps in multiplayer and vice versa. I'll answer them as I go, I suppose, just so I don't get messed up and mixed up in what I'm saying. Single player maps in multiplayer, it is currently possible, but I have explained it before to some people in the community that if you swap out the multiplayer maps with single player maps, the objects will be missing. Like, all of the objects in the level will be missing, so you won't have any trees, you won't have any pickups, you will just have the bare naked landscape, which doesn't really make it fun. I hope it's possible in future. It's just something that we have to either work out ourselves in the community or hope that Reheated can cover as well. Question 2, playing the single player 1v1, so the second player takes control of the enemy. Personally, I don't think that would work, but only because of the way that the game would react to it. Like, you know, if the player who is the enemy were to win, then does that mean that the other player who is, you know, the actual player, do they have to play that person again? You know, like, how would that work? It's a little bit complex in itself, and I honestly don't think that the game would be able to handle that. Question 3, extending the single player campaign, for example, to 30 missions. I think that will be possible in Reheated, or at least I hope it will. I don't think it will ever be possible in the original, only because the original game does not have enough memory to add in additional things, and that's why it is incredibly difficult to mod, because there is a limited amount of memory, and if you try and change too much, the game cries about it and crashes and doesn't like you changing things. So it is unfortunate. It would be awesome, but doesn't really seem possible unless you look to projects like Open Hogs of War that can, you know, kind of build the game from the ground up, specifically the PC version as well. That kind of gives you a little bit more room in terms of memory, more things you can do, etc, etc. Question 4, adding multiplayer maps to the single player campaign. Again, that's kind of what I've already answered in question 1. If you try and swap out either multiplayer maps to single player and vice versa, then their objects will be missing and you'll just have a naked map to play on. So yeah, it is possible, but it's not really worthwhile. Question 5, changing the day of time, or the time of day I suppose, so that the play, for example, mission 13 at night and mission 15 at midday. I did ask Appio, who is the lead programmer on the Reheated project, the same question, if you can actually change the time of day, if you can mod that. You are able to swap rain and snow through the cheat engine, but you cannot change the time of day on the missions because they are hard-coded, which is the same as trying to change weapons. Trying to mod weapons, I should say, like the quantity of weapons that you have in any pig's arsenal, and chopping and changing weapons as well. Like, you can't change those because they are hard coded. And the final 2 questions that aren't Hogs related: have you ever been to Austria, and if so, how has your trip been here? I haven't been to Austria, but I intend to visit one day, because I know that Castor, of course, is from Austria, and it would be nice to visit him maybe one day when this whole crazy pandemic is over and travel restrictions are lifted. That would be lovely. And question 2, have you ever played Crash Team Racing or the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games on PS1? If yes, did you enjoy these games? I have played all of those games. The Crash trilogy is also one of my favourite games as well, in terms of a series. And Crash Team Racing actually played a couple of months ago for the first time, but I feel like Mario Kart has kind of ruined that for me, because it felt like a Mario Kart ripoff. But I know it isn't. For those of you that are fans of Crash Team Racing, I know that it is its own viable game. It is a good game, but I feel like I'm kind of too late to the party when it comes to that game, and for me to be able to enjoy it as much as other people do, I don't think it's possible because of that reason. So yeah, that is going to wrap it up for this Q&A video. Hope you guys enjoyed and can let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments below, including if you want to see more Q&A stuff in future. If people are interested, if there is a big enough outcry for another one, then I will do another one. But until then, come join us in the Hogs of War Discord if you haven't already. Check out the links in the description as I mentioned previously, and I will catch you all later for the next one.